3 lessons today dealing with content marketing and things we learn when things go kind of south, not really south, when things happen. Okay, so first lesson is around direct email. Now, if you've been following my channel or content or whatever for the last few months, at least, a few months back, I talked about doing some direct email to focus on a new vertical that we're diving into. We have a website called insurancesitepros.com that we are slowly building out. It's in a pretty good state right now. We got some demos on there. It's really nice. And it's designed to target insurance agents. So we're starting that process. One of the things that I wanted to try to do is direct email. So I had somebody on my team build out a huge list of agencies across the nation. Small agencies, big agencies, we're all over the place in terms of that. Well, not all over the place in terms of how we're targeting them, but we target them in different ways, right? But we did that. And then we sent out a few thousand emails over the last few months. And guess what? It didn't work. That is if you were waiting for that result, I think I said at the time that I would, if you hear me talking about it, probably did well, but it actually didn't do well. And that's okay. And, I was talking to my VA probably a month ago now, and I said something to the effect, even if we have a bad result, it's still a result. We can learn from that, right? So we learn from it. Direct email has worked for us a little bit in the past, but in this particular niche, vertical, this type of person, it's not working. It's not working. So there's a couple things we could do there. We could retool what we're doing exactly in terms of what we send and stuff, but we're taking a pause and now we'll just kind of think about that and assess. I'm actually going to pivot, have the person that was helping me with that pivot to doing SEO stuff. So that's the other thing here. It's kind of interesting. So for a long time, I've had somebody that's really helped me with social media and content and social media stuff. And she helped me with a variety of stuff, but that's one of her main gigs, right? Helping me with the podcast, distribution, all that good stuff. Well, what I haven't had somebody really dedicated to SEO. And so I am now having somebody dedicated to SEO. But it's interesting because I'm training this person up from scratch, and which has its benefits, right? You can guide them to the resources you want them to learn from and what you want them to focus on, and they're not coming in with any preconceived notions. They're going to just kind of learn by doing. And that's a conversation I had with her this morning. I said, this is great that we're training you up. I sent her a course overnight, so she's going to be taking that. But I said, real lessons will come from actually doing. And we have 5 websites, and it's a challenging niche, but it'll be really fun to see. It'll be kind of like a playground for her to really see. It's one thing to learn those things, but then to actually apply them and then see the actual impact, the analytics, and how it impacts what we're doing. So that's fun. That's a really cool thing. It's actually interesting because when I was talking to her this morning, I kind of quiz her sometimes, and I was bringing up terminology just naturally. If you've done SEO, you'll have certain terminology in your vocabulary as you're talking to somebody, and as I say it, I realize, well, does she know that? So I'll test her. I said, you know what that means? Whether it's talking about long tail or a couple other terms that I threw out there. And she gets excited and she's either looking it up or trying to remember. But that's how that's a good way to also teach, right? But what people don't know necessarily about me is that I do have SEO background as well. So I did. In fact, that was one of the first things I learned when I came on the web 20 years ago, because I built a lot of niche sites in that first decade. I did a lot of niche marketing, a lot of niche sites. I was known for my pay-per-click, my PPC, affiliate marketing methods, and that's what I led with and what I marketed. But the secondary thing was always SEO. And so I hung out in SEO forums. I was actually known in a few in the early days, and did a lot of that. Obviously, things have changed. The landscape's changed a bit, but a lot of those core principles are still here today. And I still kind of keep up with it. So I still, read articles and, watch the internet and follow some people that are SEOs and talk to people that are SEOs and deal with in a bad way. I have to deal with them. Clients that care about SEO, right? I have clients that a lot of their traffic comes from search. So it has to be something we care about. And from a technical standpoint, optimizing sites for speed and mobile speed and all that is an important part of what we do. But anyway, so that's something we're doing. So even though we didn't do well in the direct email stuff in this particular campaign, we may circle back to that at some point. We have that list now. We might try some new things. This game is all about learning and assessing and not being afraid to fail. You got to try things. And as I talked to my buddy AJ in the last episode of The Builders, which I think was episode 118, we talked about it's okay to try things, right? It's okay to do things, experiments and all that, if you have a strategy behind it. If you aren't just throwing tactics out there. So that's one lesson. That the lesson is, from that is that, you're going to do things as long as you can measure that, your success there, and you can make decisions and make that hard decision to just say, we're done for now. Let's move on. Because you really have to know how much time you're going to give something. And I gave this ample time, and we tried some different approaches, but yeah. And the other thing is, so now we just pivot to the next thing. The other thing is, so lesson number 2 this week is related to, it's sometimes, I was just watching a video. It's this famous actor that was talking about something related to, use the challenge. Use the difficulty, something along those lines. Maybe I'll have it here if I remember it. It's basically, it revolves around, like if something's in front of you and it's a challenge, use that challenge to your benefit. And I think about that this week because I actually have my content person is out. Was a family emergency and she's out pretty much all week. And so content fell on me. So if you're hating the content this week, that's why. But seriously, it's interesting because these are the situations, though, you can use. I feel bad about what's happening. Obviously, it's a bad situation, but everything's fine, I guess. But we're on the mends. But it's a situation, though, not thinking about that from a personal level, from a business level, like, okay, are we equipped to deal with this, right? And to some extent, I am. I know that I can skip a day. We skip days here and there. Things happen, somebody's sick or whatever, and we might post a little minor stuff throughout the day. I always try to post something, but it may not be the usual stuff that we post. Skipping a day doesn't seem to hurt us all. Skipping 2 days, now I'm starting to get nervous, but I think we can still do fine. But the whole week is a different story, right? So we have to have things in place where myself or at some point somebody else, and maybe the person that's helping me with SEO can also help with this at some point, maybe. She's going to be very busy. But at least myself, like I'm able to get some assets or go create the graphics myself and the content and all that. And I have a path for that. And I understand how to do that. And doing pretty well this week. It's going to look a little different than when she's doing it and stuff. I had to create my own podcast clip and everything this week. But I did identify a few things along the way, though, that we could improve. There was some access to some things that I don't think we had it. It would be better if we had more graphics or posts banked, so that, even a half a dozen or a dozen things that I could just grab and post that are ready and kind of, just there if we need them. So if she disappears or something happen, could have happened where both of us, I'm still very busy. So I'm doing this in between things. It maybe have helped a little bit if I was working on some other fires or whatever. But having that as well, some access stuff. But the lesson there is, though, so it's this situation. It's an opportunity. I can look at it as a bad thing. Like I could be really freaking out that we don't have a content person that I've been used to having for a couple of years. I could freak out, but I'm not the type of person that really freaks out. I'm pretty laid back. But the point is that the other thing is what we can do is we can use that as an opportunity, as a test to see how would we deal with that situation. And then there's the iteration, right? The retrospective, okay, how did we do, right? Or identifying those things. Oh, I'm trying to recreate something she's doing and I don't have access to what I need or whatever, or, having that bank of things. So use those opportunities. Use the challenge. Whatever, it's something, I'm going to put it. The last thing, just a little mention on this. It's really interesting. I was looking at my personal Facebook page, and I've been on Facebook before family and friends got there, right? So when I first started Facebook back in, I think it was 2008, early 2008, probably. I'm starting to see stuff that's 14 years old. So it was 14 plus years old. So it's way back then. But I went on there for business because I was getting into social media. I was on Twitter. I was doing Twitter and Facebook, and I was getting into the social media thing because it was just starting. I was kind of an early adopter. And then family and friends came along and they ruined everything. And so now it's starting to get, I don't understand what this post is. I'm talking about pay-per-click or whatever I'm talking about. And, but anyway, so the last, decade plus, it's been just kind of whatever. And it just became this, family and friends bonanza. But I do have business friends in there, ex-members of my memberships, and people I've built relationships on the business side over the years as well. But it's just a mixture. So it's really hard to know what to even post there. But they just recently released this pro mode, the professional mode. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's there, or at least it was for me. It popped up one day and I decided to try it. And it kind of got me thinking, okay, now I can start posting actually to public because it gives you analytics, it gives you some other tools. And so I've been starting to play with putting public posts out there because I always kept everything pretty much private before. And as I'm doing it, though, I'm thinking about, should I introduce more business stuff? Because what I do on Facebook is pretty much jokes and memes and quotes, inspirational quotes and things if you're in my private, Facebook. But maybe if I start public facing, I could do, post to my articles. Actually, my blog would be a perfect thing for Matt Levenhagen on Facebook, right? Because I already have 2 pages, one for my agency, one for my podcast. Matt's, my personal Facebook could be, public facing could be, blog posts and or that type of business stuff that I would post, post about teams and processes, whatever. My family and friends aren't going to care. They're probably going to start blocking me, but I don't actually get a lot of engagement anyway there. I for years I didn't spend a lot of time doing stuff there because I wasn't really, I don't know. I didn't get much traction there. At some point, I actually had several thousand friends on there, just random, like other internet marketers and business people. And at some point, though, I decided to unfollow them all and just make it a more of a personal place with people I actually recognize. And so if I recognize the name, you stayed. If it was family, friends, or colleagues or whatever, they're in there. But that didn't really do much, though. It didn't do the bonding, I thought, especially in recent years where everything's become so political and everyone's triggered, depending on what side you are. So I decided, you know what, I even posted about it today. I said, you may not like this content. I'm testing a few things, and I'm going to be posting more of my business stuff, and I'm going to see if I can pull in some public. And then I was looking at my numbers in terms of followers and friends, and it turns out it's not a lot, in the context of other people that are like influencers and stuff, but I have over 500 people following me, and I'm like, I only have, I whittled it down to like 230 friends. I'm like, I have more followers than friends. Maybe that's a signal that there's something going on here, So yeah, I'm going to be doing more public stuff there. And again, this kind of weaves back to the first lesson today, right? It kind of ties into that. Always be trying things. Again, I was talking to my friend AJ the other day. In fact, in the clip that I created, he was talking about how him and I could talk about marketing until we're blue in the face to the end of the year without taking a breath. And I kind of chuckled at that because it's true, because we both are passionate about marketing, and it's still in me. Even though I'm a web designer, developer, and have an agency, marketing's at my core. I think about it all the time. So I'm always trying new things. And this is another thing I'm trying. I saw an opportunity. There's something new happening. What can I do? And what more can I do? What can I add on to what we're doing? And how does that blend in with my content and my brand and all that stuff? So I'm always thinking about that, always strategizing. Strategy. It's very important. Anyway, that's the 3 lessons. Well, the third lesson is just, go check out professional mode. See if it'll be something for you. Till next time. I don't know. I'm not very good at ending these things, so bye.